All right, all right, all right. Well, we wanna really welcome everybody back to the Blake's brothers. We're really enjoying this, aren't we?
Certainly we are, man.
Yeah, this gives us a real opportunity to express our heart on things that normally we probably wouldn't talk about.
Certainly, and to connect with people and hear their ideologies and opinions and things of that nature. It's
Yeah.
just wonderful.
Beauty is being able to connect with so many young people. Well, today we're going to kind of deal with recent events, and the thing that's in the media, socially, and just mainstream media, has been the Starbucks incident, where a Starbucks store manager called the police for some young black men who were just simply, seemingly waiting for their friend, and it just created just a scene that it seemed as though it appeared as though it was racial profiling.
What did they do? What did they do? Did someone tell me what they did?
They didn't do anything. I saw the entire thing. They
didn't. What did they do?
Nothing.
And so, as a consequence, Starbucks has responded by closing, I think, 8,000 of their stores nationally for a day, 170,000 employees to do some kind of racial sensitivity training, for lack of another term.
And supposedly they are bringing in some experts, most notably Eric Holder,
Yeah.
former Attorney General, to help, facilitate these trainings.
Yeah.
So we sent Casey Ferran, our correspondent, onto the streets to see what the streets have to say on this issue, and we'll come back.
I was honestly not surprised, even though it was a shocking incident that we hear about time and time again. It just proves, we classify people according to their looks, and this was not the first time, it won't be the last time, but I'm glad that it got so much airtime that this is just so indecent.
I feel like it was a bogus move for the sensitivity training. That was really bogus for every shop and every place. I feel like it should only be in that place because everybody doesn't have the same views on race.
To any effort to try to improve the way people treat each other, I think that's a good idea.
We've come so far yet. We've traveled so little, it seems.
Yeah.
As it relates to the mindset and mentality that's in the world today. Dr. King talked about, a nation or a country where people are judged by their character.
Yeah.
And and not the color of their skin. But
Absolutely.
But that's not. It seems that that's not always what's going on now.
Yeah. I think, just in a positive sense, I think you'll agree with me, that it seems as though the minority of people carry these biases, carry these prejudices or this racism thing, but they seem to get all of the attention.
Right.
As I travel the world, it has been my experience globally that people in general are not small-minded and locked in a box like that. But this generates headlines, and this creates attention. And even certain famous gentlemen said all publicity is good publicity. But to Starbucks's credit, I like the swift, decisive response. I think it was very wise. I think it brought about a healing to just close those stores and to have that training. But then I think also we have to make certain that we understand that this is the behavior of an individual manager, or maybe managers.
Certainly.
Not necessarily the mentality or the culture of the organization. You and I are pastors of a church. And if somebody comes here and one of our members behaves poorly, they say, oh, I'm not going back there no more because those people over there. So we kind of know about that.
Yeah. Well, it's incumbent upon all of us never to judge the whole by part.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Within every organization, within every company, there's always a bad apple.
Absolutely.
But you cannot judge the entirety of a thing by, a part of that thing.
Now, I think the next step, even beyond the training, is to develop a culture where if a manager or employee at all has been noted for some kind of racial profiling, that they're fired.
Certainly.
You know what
certainly.
I mean? I think that becomes the nail in the coffin of this thing. But I really do appreciate the efforts and the moves that they've made in this regard.
I'm certainly in agreement. And as I foresaid, you cannot judge the entirety of a thing by part of it. We pastor thousands of people, and all of them are not always nice.
No,
All of them are not always nice, but I pray that no one judges our church
absolutely.
based on an
behavior.
individual they met in the foyer.
That is exactly right. So, it's just a reflection of the times.
So let me ask you this. Do you think more companies should take this Starbucks model and continue that line?
Honestly, I think absolutely. And I think more companies should be held accountable for instituting such training, because racism, I think we also have to understand that there is a large gap from the least to the greatest as it pertains to from prejudice to racism.
Right.
There are many different gaps, and I think when you grow up in a culture like the United States of America, you are infused with some degree of prejudice.
Yeah.
Black against white, white against black, white black against Asian,
Black
white
on
black
black.
Asian against Hispanic. We're infused with some kind of prejudice that we don't always realize is there until we are in a moment. So by that, I mean, I think all of us should, take a step back and really analyze our personal perspectives. But companies that are dealing with masses of people should certainly have something in place like Starbucks is doing to make certain that your employees are well trained and even weed out those that are not trainable. That even pertains to us as a church. If we were suddenly infused with hundreds and thousands of people that were not black, white, Asian, Hispanic, how would this predominantly black congregation respond to that? Would we lose those people because people are not racially sensitive to, other people's needs? So I do think, to answer your question with a long preacher-like answer, I do think that all companies, other companies, should follow Starbucks' model. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Do you think Starbucks' response, having this training, does that really address the problem? Do you think that response is a sincere response, or was it just political? Is it going to really impact the culture or the thinking of certain people in the culture of Starbucks?
Well, I don't know if we'll ever know what the motivation was, or if they would have acted in this way if there had not been a problem.
There you go.
But I do know God allows certain things to transpire to bring things to the surface.
Yeah.
So I think it was the strategic hand of God to allow this to happen. Some things happen within the confines of his permissive will. So
That's right.
He permits it to happen for the purpose of bringing things to the surface. So however, or whatever happened,
Yeah.
it happened. And God has caused the focus of the world to be on this thing called racism and racial biases. So, we just pray that America changes.
Yeah.
And we pray that mindsets change, and we pray that, people's concepts of each other change, and we pray that, we won't live in a world of judgment, but a world of acceptance.
Yeah. All right. Rolling?
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to the street with our correspondent, the beautiful Miss Casey Ferran.
Hey, I'm Casey Ferran, your Blake's Brothers correspondent here in New Orleans. I'm with Lala from Kenner. What's your question for the Blake's Brothers?
Okay, so I'm a graduating senior at Xavier University, and I always hear my classmates discuss their passion and purpose. So my question is, what advice would you give to college students who are not living through their passion and purpose because they're doing what their parents want them to do?
Lala, that's a very powerful question. I think it is ultimately extremely important that you live out your purpose.
Absolutely.
I believe your purpose breeds your passion. I don't think that you'll ever really be passionate about anything you're not purposed for. So consequently, you'll never be the best at anything you're not passionate about or purposed for. Your parents have already lived out their purpose, or they are living out their purpose. It is important that you find your purpose. And I think it is important for every parent to understand.
Absolutely.
The importance of allowing your child to find a sense of individuality.
Absolutely.
And know who they are and find their voice in this world.
And it sounds as though, Lala, you probably need to have a real heart-to-heart with your parents,
right?
Because either you're feeling a false sense of responsibility to do something that they desire you to do, or they have imposed their will for your life upon you. And in either case, it does not end well for you. The most important thing in life is to be happy. And one cannot be happy unless one is really in the vein of why he or she was born.
Wow.
I'm a pastor. He's a pastor. We're second-generation pastors. Our father preceded us, but he never forced this life on us.
Right.
He allowed us to evolve into whatever we might become, and it just so happens that we ended up doing the very same thing that he did. I have 4 children of my own. He has 2 children of his own. We don't force ministry on them, but sometimes parents are a little forceful. But as you mature and as you grow and as you become an adult, one of the great tests of being an adult is being able to speak up and to have your own mind, even in an uncomfortable situation, even like a situation with your parents where maybe your life is going in a different direction than maybe they've idealized, but it's who you are, it's where you need to go, it's what's going to make you happy. And prayerfully, it's something that is legal, it's something that is righteous and something that is productive. But in any sense, you need to have that conversation with your parents, because you cannot, you're graduating senior, you cannot go into your life as a young adult trying to please somebody else. The fastest way to be a miserable person is to live to please other people with your life. This is your life, and you have to live it. And at the end of each day, you have to be content and happy with the decisions and the moves you've made. And if you have that conversation with your parents, it may be a tough one, but they'll get over it. They love you. I've had tough conversations with my children, and they've come to me and they said things that I didn't necessarily agree with or didn't necessarily appreciate, but it was what they desired and it was what made them happy, and I got over it.
There are 2 great beginnings in the life of every individual, as the day he's born and the day he discovers why he was born. Let me say this to you. If you succeed at something you're unhappy with, that just makes you a successful failure.
Oh, that's good right there. That's good right there. You can succeed and make millions of dollars, but if it's something you are not purposed to do, and as you said earlier, if you're not purposed to do it, you're not going to be passionate. If you're not passionate, you're not going to be happy. You end up being a successful failure.
Some things give your life money, other things gives your life meaning.
Wow.
So your purpose is what gives your life meaning and value.
Talk to your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been a great time. I really thoroughly enjoy. We have to really schedule to get together to do this, and we need you to really give us your questions and send us all of your responses. We just thank you for tuning in.
We love you much, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Blake's Brothers. Blessings and favor to you, my friend.